All right, today we're going to move on to 10.2, surface area of cylinders. Yesterday we did 10.1. Tomorrow we'll be doing 10.3. On Thursday we are going to review, and then on Friday there is a quiz over 10.1 through 10.3. If you would, please take out your red pen, and I want you to fill in this important information at the top. Okay, so you can see here we have a can of Pringles. This is a cylinder. Let's talk about this. As you're looking at my can of Pringles, what shape do you see at the top? What shape is at the bottom? Okay, do you guys remember what the top and the bottom of our prisms were called yesterday? They were called our bases, okay? So what is the base of a cylinder? It is a circle. Does anyone remember what the formula was for a circle? A equals pi r squared. Now, I want you to look at our formulas for today down here. Do you guys see that in the formula at all? Yeah. Yes, but what do you notice is right in front of that pi r squared? Why do you think there's a 2? Because there are 2 circles, the top and the bottom, or the bases are circles. So that's where this part, the 2 pi r squared, comes from. Then it adds in this extra part right here. What does it mean if it's a 2 pi r h all next to each other? Am I adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing them? That means we're going to multiply those together. So if you would, take your red pen. This is a formula we're going to need to know, and just draw a little cloud around that formula. This is the formula for finding the surface area of a cylinder. Now the next thing it says here is to find the lateral surface area. Do you remember yesterday we talked about lateral faces?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yesterday we had a rectangular prism. We talked about the base, the top, and the bottom. What were all the things on the side called? Lateral faces. Okay, so that's the part on the outside. The lateral surface area of a cylinder, as you're looking at my can of Pringles right here, it's this red part around the outside. But it does not include the top or the bottom. So if you look, this one looks almost exactly like that, but it has taken out the top and the bottom part right there for our cylinder. So this is going to be if we're only finding the lateral area. So basically if they said, hey, we are creating a new color of Pringles. What color would you guys like to have of the new color? Blue. So let's imagine that instead we are going to color this blue instead, all right? Do I color the top and the bottom? No, I would only be coloring that lateral surface area or the side, and that's when we would use that formula right there. So here we go. We're going to do some problems that have to do with this. This first shape right here, let's just talk about the base. Remember, the base is the top and the bottom. There's always 2 bases. What shape is the base of this cylinder? What is it? A circle. Okay, very good. A cylinder is always going to have a circular base. The first thing I want us to do is look at this red circle at the top, and there is a line that goes from the center to the edge. Do you guys remember what that line is called? Nasir, what is it? The radius. Very good. So if off to the side, I would like everyone to put that the radius is 4 millimeters. Just for memory's sake, how long would this have been if I had asked for it all the way across?
8.
It would have been 8. And what is that called? The diameter. Very good. But for this formula, I don't actually need to know the diameter. Now let's talk about this. Imagine that this was a Pringle can, but I smushed it. Okay? What is the 3 representing?
The height.
The height, okay? So how tall that is. So we're going to put height equals 3 millimeters. All right, now this is just some additional information we are going to need to know, so we're just going to put it off onto the side and identify that at the beginning of each of our problems. Now, if I go back to the instructions, it says find the surface area of the cylinder. We just learned a new formula. What is the surface area of a cylinder formula?
2 times pi times r times width plus 2 pi times r times height.
All right, it's quite the little formula, all right? So let's write that down. All right, 2 times pi. Do you guys remember the amount for pi?
Yes, ma'am.
How much is it?
3.14.
3.14. Jocelyn, what's the radius of this circle? 4 millimeters. So we're going to put 4 squared plus 2 times pi. Nasir, what was pi?
3.4.
3.14 Jace, what's the radius? 4. And Luke, what's the height?
3 millimeters.
Very good. According to PEMDAS, what should I do first in this? The exponents. So let's just look at what those exponents would be. Guys, what does 4 squared mean?
4 times
4 times 4. What is 4 times 4? 16. Okay, then let's look at this. What is 2 times 3.14? 6.28, okay? And then remember the 4 squared was 16. Plus, the next thing you need to do is multiply all of those together. You can stick that straight into your calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 4 times 3. There's also a lot of mental math that you could do there. 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24, and then you just need to do 24 times 3.14. And no matter how you do it, what answer will you get?
75.36.
Very good. Now, according to PEMDAS, should I multiply or should I add first?
Multiply.
We do need to multiply. So let's multiply those two together. Autumn, when you do that, what do you get? 100.48. So that right there would be the top, or this red circle up here, and then this bottom blue circle. So that's our two circles. Now we've got to add the lateral surface area, 75.36. When you add those two together, Abigail, what do you get?
I got 7,500.
Okay, there we go, 175.84. And remember, we're finding lateral surface area, so we do want to square the units. But let's go back to our instructions. It says round to the nearest what? Tenth. Which one's in the tenths place?
8.
The 8. So we're trying to figure out, should that 8 stay the same or should it get bigger? What do you guys think? It is going to stay the same because if you see, the 4 is not going to cause it to get any bigger. So final answer is?
175.8 millimeters squared.
Very good. Any questions on how we found the surface area of that cylinder? All right, let's go to the next one. This cylinder, remember, you have to first identify what the shape is of the base. How many bases do we have on every single 3D shape?
4.
2, okay? What shape do you see up there that has a base, a top and a bottom?
A cylinder.
Okay, this is a cylinder, but I want you to think of a Pringles can that looks like it what?
It looks like
It kind of looks like it fell over, okay? So still, this is the top and this is the bottom of my cylinder, okay? So imagine it looks like this. I need to go to the circle part. You can see it's on the side here. And it says 3 centimeters. Is that going to be my radius or my diameter?
radius.
That is the radius because it's only going from the edge to the center right there. So off to the side, I just want us to identify what these things are. That is going to be the radius. So what do you guys think this 18 centimeters is?
The height.
It is the height, okay? Imagine that this Pringle can has not fallen over and it's standing up like this, like you can see up here. That would be the height is 18 centimeters. So you got to be careful because sometimes people will accidentally switch those around, okay? I want you and your partner to do this one together and see if you can get the correct answer. All right, so the first thing you always want to do at the beginning of a problem, which I saw most of you had done this, is write out what that formula would be, okay? So now we have 2 times, Reagan, what is pi?
3.14.
Very good. Michaela, what is my radius?
3.
Very good. And then we're going to square that. Plus 2 times, we're going to do 3.14 again, times the radius, which is 3. And guys, what's the height? 18. How many of you would say yours looked like that? Okay. According to this whole entire thing right here, we are going to look at this first part. What's 2 times 3.14? 6.28. Then what is 3 squared? 9. Be careful. As I walk through, some people did 3 times 2. Remember, that means 3 times itself, so that would be times 9. Plus, when you multiply all that part, that lateral surface area together, what number did you guys get?
39.
Okay, very good. 339.12. Remember, all you did there is you multiplied 2 times 3.14 times 3 times 18. Now we've got to multiply those two together. When you multiply them together, you should have had 56.52. Remember, that's going to be the top and the bottom of our cylinders, the bases. Then we're adding together 339.12. When you add all of that together, we get this number right here, but you have to round it. So class, what is the final answer?
395.6 squared.
Very good. Raise your hand if you and your partner were able to get that. How many of you would say you at least got that, but you were trying to kind of explain it with your partner? That's okay. Okay, so what's important on the second one is we have to look at the instructions. What is it asking us to find this time? The lateral surface area. Remind me again, what is different about that and the regular surface area? The equation or the formula is smaller. Why is it smaller? What is it not including? The bottom and the top. What do we call the bottom and the top? The base. So this does not include the base. Let's look at our circle at the top. It has a distance all the way across the circle. What's that called?
The diameter.
The diameter. Everyone, I would like you just to identify the diameter is 8 feet. So how long would the radius be? 4. This is a step that a lot of people will miss on the quiz coming up because they just look and they see an 8 there, so they plug in an 8. But you've got to be careful. That was the diameter and we want the radius. So guys, what's the 5?
The height.
That's my height. All right, so now we know the information we need to learn just from looking at the figure. Now we're going to start with our formula. You can look at the formulas at the top. What is the formula for finding the lateral surface area of an object?
2 pi RH.
Okay, very good. LA, lateral area or lateral surface area, equals 2 times pi times r times h. Would anyone like to help me with this one? All right, Jonathan, go ahead. What should I plug in?
So you should plug in for the pi, or you should put the 2 and then parentheses 3.14,
Very good.
and then 4 with parentheses and then 5.
Excellent. When you multiply those together, tell me what you got. All right, 125.6. Now, what does it ask us to round to, Jonathan? The nearest tenth. So what should I do to this?
You should
Do I need to round it? No, listen, you want it to be in the tenths place, and it already came out being in the tenths place. So that is your answer exactly as you would have it. Okay? I want you and your partner to work on problem B together. Remember, first things first, identify the information that we did here to start with. Okay, I would see that I saw about half of you did get it correct. Let's identify some information first. What is the shape of the base on this object?
Cylinder.
The shape of the base.
Circle.
It is a circle, okay? So all the way across is 3. That would be our diameter. So what would my radius be?
1.5.
1.5, because you just got to cut it in half. And then what is that 8 yards there? That is the height. Okay, that's probably the hardest part, is identifying and making sure that you got that part correct, okay? Formula to start with, the lateral surface area is 2 pi RH. So we're going to take it 2 times 3.14 times 1.5 times the height, which is 8. A lot of you, how many of you would say you got that far at least? Okay, how many of you messed up on the diameter and the radius? That's okay, just erase it and fix it. When you multiply all of that out, this is what you get. But I have some people who are still struggling with the rounding. Guys, which number there is in the tenths place?
3.
The 3. So you've got to see, should I keep the 3 the same or should it get 1 bigger? What do you think?
Keep that one.
It needs to get 1 bigger because the 6 is bigger than 5. So the correct answer should have been 75.4 yards squared. Raise your hand if you got that correct, even including the rounding. All right, good work. Okay, so we're going to do one review problem. This is from tonight's homework, but it's reviewing 10.1 that we did yesterday. It says to find the surface area of the prism. First thing I want you to always do is figure out what the base is. Remember, the base is going to have 2 bases that'll be the exact same shape. What shape is my base?
That's triangle.
A triangle. So what do we call this shape? A triangular prism, okay? So if the base is a triangle, how many triangles did you guys say that we had? 2. So let's start off with our formula. SA equals, there's 2 triangles. What is the formula for area of a triangle? 1/2 times base times height. Okay, so now, how many sides are on a triangle? 3. If there are 3 sides on a triangle, guess what? How many shapes are there that are not triangles? There's going to be 3 of them. What other shape do you see in this prism?
A rectangle.
Rectangle, okay? So we're going to have plus a rectangle, plus another rectangle, and plus one last rectangle. Once again, because we know on the edge over here that this is a triangle, there has to be one shape on that side, one shape on that side, and one shape on that side. So that helps us to know that there are going to be 3 other shapes. Before we go on, I want us to see if we can kind of figure out how long some other things are. Let's look at this first one right here. How long do you guys think that is? 29. How'd you get that? Look at this. This line right here is parallel with it, which means that has to be the same exact thing. So if everyone would please put a 29 right there. Let's talk about this one up here. How long do you think that is? 30. How'd you figure that out?
Because it's parallel to 30 on the
The 30 on the other side is parallel, so that is going to be 30 feet also. Let's talk about... Let's look at this dotted line right here. What's parallel to that?
20 feet.
The 20 feet that's down there at the bottom. Okay, so that one is going to be 20. All right, now let's move on. SA equals 2 times 1/2 times, let's just look at this triangle right here. Guys, what is the base and the height of that triangle? 21 and 20. It does not matter which order you put it in. Times 21, times 20. Either order is fine. All right, now we're going to start looking at these rectangles. I'd like us to look at this one right here. If you were to look at that rectangle that we have right there, guys, what are the dimensions for that one?
30, 21, 25.
Nope, there's only one length and one width. What's the dimensions of that one? 30 and 29. Okay, doesn't matter which order you put it in. We're going to multiply those together. Plus, there's another one. Let's look at this rectangle in the back. Nasir, what are the dimensions of that rectangle in the back? 21 and 30. Reagan, where's the last rectangle at?
On that side, on the other side. Bottom.
On the bottom. Okay, so if I'm looking down here at the very bottom, Reagan, what are the dimensions of this rectangle? What's the length and the width?
30 and 20.
30 and 20. Okay, I want you and your partner to work together to see if you can find this answer for me. All right, so as I move on, I could do 20 times 21. Say with me.
We got it.
Wait, do we have to draw the shape for everyone?
All right, so 20 times 21 is 420. Then you want to take half of that. If you take half of that, then you would get 210. But then you have to remember you have to multiply it by 2. So that's where a lot of people messed up. But the surface area for that first part is 420. All right, then the next one, you get 870 plus 630 plus 600. Okay, so if you didn't get those parts, just double check it. Then all you want to do is you add those together, and it did not ask us to do anything else, so the correct answer should have been 2,520 feet squared. How many of you would say you got that? All right, excellent. All right, so tonight's homework is 10.2. We just did the first problem together, which means you only have 5 problems left for homework tonight.